Welcome to Linda's Real Deal Talk Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Hold on to your seats because you're in store for a treat. Do you know of someone that has low self-esteem, or have you felt worthless? Well, we have answers for you today. We have an amazing couple here that will share their story of self-worth and how they came together. So I want you to give a warm welcome for David and Isabel Black. Welcome, David and Isabel.
Hi,
Hi,
thank you, Linda.
thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
just such a lovely couple.
Thank
you.
you.
I want to know, how did you two meet? So I want David to start off and give his side of the story, and then Isabel could give her side of the story.
Okay. First, it was we first met back in September of 2000. My good friend at the time was dating Isabel's older sister, and so we just met back then, and just hit it off ever since. We've been together ever since.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, let me hear Isabel's version.
Yeah, like he said, met my sister was dating one of his good friends, and it was amazing that I met him. But like you just spoke on, it was where we were at in life when we met. That's really what the story's about, because we were in very dark places, and although it was a beautiful connection, it was in a bar.
Okay.
I was pregnant with my third kid. I was in denial. I shouldn't have been in a bar. I shouldn't have been there drinking. I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing when we met.
Yeah, she's starting out talking about a part of her chapter. So we co-author a book together called Stepping Up and Stepping Out. How do you show up?
How do you show
And
up?
she's going to be talking about the story. She's going to tell us why she decided to write her chapter. Right. Why did you decide to write your chapter? And how did you both write it? Explain to the audience.
So it was going to a networking meeting Monday mornings where we would go together also at times, and they were already co-chaptering the book together, the group. So I stepped into that world, and I wasn't exactly sure what this meant, co-author a book with different people telling stories. But when I heard the name of the book, it made sense that we needed to be a part of it. Stepping up and stepping out. How are you showing up?
Yes.
Because that's the question that I think helped us grow so much. We had to keep asking ourselves, how are we showing up?
Yes.
Because life never stopped happening around us. So immediately when I heard of what the stories that they were compiling for this book, I started meeting the other co-authors, which are amazing people. Yes. And I just knew I had to be a part of it. Spoke to Dave about it, and I knew the story I wanted to share in this was our story. Yes. So I asked him if he would like to share this experience with me, and he said yes right away. So here we are.
So when she brought the idea to you, Dave, what was your immediate reaction? What did you think?
I was surprised. I didn't, as far as like co-authoring a book, I was like, okay, it sounded different. I've never heard anything like that before. So it was interesting. It piqued my interest for sure. And so just to be able to share our story and maybe help somebody later on down the road as far as like the experiences we've gone through and overcome.
Yes. So starting with Isabel, tell us just a little bit about your chapter, and then I'll have David tell a little bit about the chapter also.
So in our chapter, we share, and it starts off more of my story. And I share how when I moved to Kansas for the first time at 17, I had one son and was with his father, and we moved here to give him a better life, because the world we were living in was gangs, drugs, streets, and we knew that we wanted to give this child something different. We didn't know how to do that where we were at. So we moved to Kansas. So the story starts where my first experience coming to Kansas.
Okay.
and how I went back and came back again. So in between a couple years, I lost multiple times everything I had worked really hard to build. And then I kept having more kids. So it was like I was gaining more responsibility, but losing everything that I was building to try to handle the world I was creating. The third time I moved, or the second time I moved to Kansas, when I got off the bus, I had a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and I was pretty sure I was pregnant. So I was homeless, jobless, carless. I had literally lost everything all over again, once again. And I had made a commitment to only sleep on my sister's couch for 2 months max. Like, I knew that I couldn't, nor could she, handle anything more than that, because we have a very toxic relationship.
So what is your favorite part of the chapter?
Obviously, like Isabel said, when we met, she was pregnant with the third kid, and so it relates to so many people in America, as far as blended families.
Yes.
And it's so relatable to so many people nowadays. And so just kind of like how we did that, and we don't go in like details and stuff as far as like the different stuff that has happened throughout the years, but like it just shows basically the dynamic of the family with it being blended and stuff like that. So it's very relatable to a lot of people.
Yes.
Right.
I had, when 11 years in, 7 years into being married, into our relationship, we went to therapy, and our therapist told us that we were going to have to work just a little bit harder than the average family because of our dynamics, and that it wasn't impossible. We just had to understand that it was going to look different. Like, we were doing Bible studies and everything, and 2-parent homes, they have children's beautiful careers, beautiful homes. That's not our story. Sure, it looks like it because we had the home down the road that looked nice and everything, but that wasn't the case. And when I received that information, I was upset with it at first, actually, because I didn't. Why do I have to work harder? Like, that's not fair. Because I felt like I was working hard already. And when I let it sit in, and I accepted that I have a great partner, like we just have to accept that we have to work a little harder. So that's what we got to do. And like we've always communicated well, I think. Like, we talk. Not in all areas, obviously, we're still a couple and human, but we would talk, and we would know that we were both willing to put in the work. So we understood that we had to work harder, and we were both willing to put in the work. And I think that's what really made the difference.
And I'm so glad you two put in the work, because we can see the results. You're work together really good, and you're a blessing to other people.
Thank you.
And you're definitely a blessing to me.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
So I appreciate us meeting together and bonding. Tell us a little bit about what do you do, and then tell us what are your goals in life. And we'll start off with Isabel.
Okay. Well, currently I have, in 2020, I newly devoted my life to healing humanity, being an intentional healer. And what that means for me is, in 2020, I lost my job to COVID, and then got diagnosed with breast cancer just a couple months after that. So I was unemployed, didn't have a reason to be looking for new employment, because I was just about to go through this new journey that I didn't know what to expect, obviously. And coming out of that into 2021, I had some complications. Things were really foggy. But when I started kind of tunnel visioning back into kind of the same thing that Dave and I did years prior, and it's like, figure out what you want and what you're trying to create, and then just put in the work. Like, if something has to change it, but start figuring this out. So I did, and I started, what I started doing, honestly, was what became my 9 to 5, was spending time with Christ. That really is how the transformation happened. When I lost my job became 9 to 5, spending time with Him, and I had the the opportunity to do that. And everything else found its other place in life. But as soon as I did that, opportunity. So I started my business, Gigi's Natural Hippie Essentials, in 2021. And that's what that is my mom is Gigi, and she's been making for over 12 years healing salves. This is a 5 ingredient, I'm learning to say 5 ingredient healing salve that she's been making for about 4 years now, that is just changing people's worlds and helping them heal physically through chronic pain, skin conditions, and we have people who are getting off of prescription pain medications, and my product's helping them do that. So blessed to have started my business. Any entrepreneur knows that takes time, right? It doesn't just take off. So I've organically become a speaker on intentional living. So that's what I'm doing while I'm building my business. And I have a movement called Activate Your Power Now, that we do a speaker series, and we host an event every second Wednesday of the month in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm also I'm a co-host to Becoming the Best You talk show with the host is Brenda Ringwood. And we just started a nonprofit. We're in the middle of starting a nonprofit. We need tons of support, but it's called the Grace Yatom Foundation. And Dave can talk more about that, because that's my support to Dave of something he was called to. So we're doing a lot of things right now, but that's what I have going on right now in my world. So I'm an intentional healer. I just help people with physical pains, emotional pains, past trauma, and step out into their truth and be activated. So
Cool. So Dave, what do you have going on?
I currently work for the city of Olathe. I'm a solid waste driver. I've been there for almost 2 years. I've been driving for going on 18 years. Other than that, I mow yards after work. I work at the city full time, but I mow yards after work. And the reason why I mow yards is, like Isabel just spoke on, we started supporting a family and a local pastor in Uganda, Camp Lau Laganda. And so we partnered with them, and we agreed to pay for their rent and help out with food and stuff like that. Short-term goal is to stand by what we told them as far as our promise with the food and rent. That's the short-term goal. The long-term goal is to buy land and build a forever home for him. For him, and I think they have now they're up to 20 orphan kids, and so they're doing great things there in Uganda. So that's our long-term goal, is to buy a home, buy land, buy a home, and also they also want to build a school so they could be self-sufficient, in order to they could hire teachers to come in, teach the kids and stuff, then make funds and monetary means off of that so they could support themselves. So that's a long-term goal. But after work, I go on, I mow yards, and money from that helps us support them. So, and God spoke to me last year for the longest time, as far as fostering kids, and I shared it with Isabel. And so it just took an effect this February to March is when we started supporting them, and it's just been a beautiful thing. We talk to them, we'll video chat to kids at least once a month, and they're just really excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. You're a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
So if anybody wants to support your endeavors, how would the audience reach out to you?
perfect. So the Grace Yatom Foundation, right now we only have a Facebook page. We're growing into, I'm building the website, and we'll be having more ways to get a hold of us for that. But go to our Facebook page if you have Facebook, and that's Grace Yatom Foundation, and it'll be also on linked to this video. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Please follow my YouTube, Isabel Luz Camacho Black. It's my full name. And my website is www.gigisnaturalhippieessentials.com. And I spell hippie weird, so check the link on this video.
Wonderful. Yes, definitely feel free to reach out to both of them. So in conclusion, I would like them to leave you with some encouraging, supportive words. Start with David.
Dave is really good at giving encouraging
as far
words.
as encouraging, one thing that keeps me grounded is two things, which would be, like you think you're going through something hard or rough or your world's ending. Just think of the scariest thing that's ever happened in your life in the past, and that you're still here today. That's number one for me. Number two is I've always kept in the back of my mind that there's always somewhere, it don't matter if it's here in the U.S., any other countries, that somebody else has it way worse than I do. So that's the two big things for me that keeps me grounded, and not making it where my mind's going here or going there, or making it to where I'm like, oh, woe is me, or anything like that. So that's the two big things for me that keeps me grounded, and very grateful that, I know I'm not rich, but at the same time, I got it pretty good.
And I'll follow up with what Dave said, staying in gratitude. That's what's allowed me to catapult into ultimate purpose and create a life that I'm choosing to live, not having to live. And that's by staying grateful, what Dave just said, and add to that there's always a reason to be grateful. There's something to be thankful for. So if you got to dig deep, but don't stop digging until you figure out what that is.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here with us. Yes.
Appreciate it.
We'd love to have you back again.
Absolutely.
So we can
For sure.
talk further about the progress of our book. So feel free to purchase our book, Stepping Up and Stepping Out. It's on Amazon for $8.99. Or just feel free to reach out to Dave or Isabel. And I just wanted you to remember that you are special. You are precious in His sight. And I am thankful and grateful that you have joined us. So continue joining us, because we will have more interesting topics coming up and other interviews of more authors. So thank you. And in the meantime, keep it real.
That's how we grew up and what we were involved in. And then I had to go back to El Paso. Like, we started building here, doing good for ourselves. Then he got arrested trafficking, so we had to go back to El Paso. And I was, because he was going to prison, he was in jail, so I was pregnant with our second son now. And we had a 2-year-old, so I wanted them to be close to their father, even if he was incarcerated. Went away, served some time. It was during that time that I learned self-worth. I didn't have a choice but to take care of myself and my kids without nobody there to help me. Started growing, all fell apart, came back to Kansas. This time I get off the bus, and this is just within about a year later. I get off the bus and I have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant again. I hadn't verified. And I met Dave basically the day I got off the bus. And it tells a little bit of our first journey of when we were first together, what it looked like because of past trauma, me holding on to guilt, being a single mom of 3 kids, 2 with one dad, 1 with another, thinking that I'm trying to be responsible and make the right decision for my kids because I was homeless, didn't have a job, I got off the bus and I didn't have nothing but kids. And met him in a bar.